airing 10 a.m. to noon, live from First String Sports every Saturday on 1430 ESPN Fresno.
Fresno County is filled with talent, but opportunity doesn't always reach every student. The foundation at FCOE is just $100,000 away from reaching our $1 million endowment for excellence. This fund safeguards life-changing programs, from academic decathlon and career expos to arts, leadership, and college readiness, ensuring opportunities for students now and for generations to come. Join us. Every gift builds tomorrow. Visit fcoefoundation.org/raise to 1 million.
Hey, it's Phil Bonatti from Behind the Bench. In sports, when you take a hard hit, you count on your team. In life, after an accident, your team is Davis and Van Wagenen, attorneys at law. Right here in Fresno, they've helped Valley families win the compensation they deserve, and you don't pay unless they win. Visit DavisVanWagenenLaw.com. That's DavisVanWagenenLaw.com. Davis and Van Wagenen, your hometown injury attorneys.
Game day just got a whole lot sweeter and a little bit saucy. KFC's bringing back one of the most requested plays in menu history, the original Honey Barbecue. That's right, that sweet, smoky, finger-licking legend from the late 90s is back and better than ever. Now you can get that classic Honey Barbecue flavor on everything, including their two-piece chicken combo for $10.99 or the original Honey Barbecue chicken sandwich for $11.99. The original Honey Barbecue, sweet, savory, and back in the game. And it's happening only at KFC.
This November, keep your vibes high and your wallet happy at Valley Pure Dispensaries. We've got fire flower, tasty edibles, and concentrates that make every sesh a celebration. And all November long, the savings are smoking. Join us Saturday, November 15th at Valley Pure Farmersville for our 6-year anniversary bash with food trucks, a live DJ from 4 to 7, and massive deals like BOGO Stizzy Vapes, 50% off dab woods, and exclusive giveaways. And don't forget, all 5 Valley Pure locations are open on Thanksgiving. Stay lifted, stay thankful, stay Valley Pure.
At FFB, we know behind every business is a person. That's why we're more than a bank. We're a partner, a farming-focused bank for hard workers, a future-forward bank for big dreamers, and a family-friendly bank for the next generation of owners. From first ideas to major milestones, we're here to help you chase your goals and score big. So what can FFB mean for your business? Find out at ffb.bank. That's ffb.bank. FFB Bank. Let's win together.
Welcome to A+ Signs.
Thanks. Yeah, I need some custom exterior signs for my business.
Great. What's the name of your business?
C+ Signs.
Wait, you own a sign company?
Yep, C+ Signs.
And you want us, A+ Signs, to make your signs?
Yeah, I need them really fast, and we can't touch our turnaround times.
We are kind of known for that.
For signs that stop traffic, drive traffic, and even direct traffic, call A+ Signs.
Remember, A+ has great technicians to service and repair signs, too.
Yeah, we got a guy, but he's afraid of ladders.
Introducing The Sidebar, a brand new open-air beer garden at Me and Ed's Coney Island Grill in River Park. Experience a new way to catch a game, hang with friends, and enjoy new appetizers, char-grilled burgers, salads, wings with over 10 house-made sauces, and of course, world-famous Me and Ed's pizza. Thirsty? Try our self-poured taps with over a dozen craft beers, wines, ciders, and craft seltzers. Plus a full bar with an impressive selection of tequilas, whiskeys, and craft cocktails. The Sidebar at Me and Ed's Coney Island Grill, now open in River Park.
Welcome to Wednesday SportsLine, the Bulldog Hour. Cap Mahoney alongside, as always. We'll take you to 3. Have it out there. Our good buddy Phil Bonatti, his great show, Behind the Bench, the full 3 hours today. And then it's a big matchup, if you can have one this time of year in the NBA, as the Lakers head to OKC to play the defending champion Thunder, who are really the Seattle Supersonics, as we talked about before. Although the folks in Seattle don't want to hear about that. They want to hear about an expansion team coming there, which, by the way, will happen, because when the NBA goes to 32 teams, which they will in fairly short order, both Vegas and Seattle will get teams. And so good for the folks in Seattle. Otherwise, enjoy the afterglow of your Sonics, who are the defending champions in a very real sense, though they are and have been for a while at Oklahoma City, where they gave the Warriors a cowboy whooping last night. And I will get to that, by the way, because our pal Joaquin in Parlier had questions about Paul George and the old Mount Rushmore, who's going to get there first, and I'll get to that. And also he wanted to ask or address things about LeBron and what in the world Draymond was saying last night, which was Draymond being Draymond. So I'll get to that in addition to Fresno State with Jack Fertig on this Basketball Wednesday in just a moment. But first, as always, our other lead dogs want to spend some time with you. So let's start with Ed Dunkel, Precision Civil Engineering. He will allow me the time to tell you about the schedule for both 1430 and 790. Planning, land surveying, civil engineering, landscape architecture, construction management, it's all there under one roof. 449-4500 or precisioneng.net for more information about Precision Civil Engineering. And again, when we go over the schedule for both stations, I'll tell you again about the great fundraisers that Ed has for his alma mater, Fresno State, and in particular the Lyles College of Engineering. So many students there end up working for Ed at Precision, and we thank Ed for his sponsorship and the support of athletics across the valley. The other reminders here, the good people at KFC in Fresno, Clovis, Selma, and Kerman been aboard for a good long while. Again, another group helping out all athletics across the valley, and right now it's a throwback to the late 90s at the KFCs because honey barbecue flavor on everything right now is front and center. Talking about chicken sandwiches, tenders, and, of course, those crispy golden pieces you know and love. Special deals, 2-, 3-, and 4-piece meals. Also, keep in mind, on Wednesdays, you have the country fried steak for $5.99. Tuesdays, the $10 8-piece bucket or tenders is there for you. So check that out. And always, everything at KFC is finger looking good. Enjoy the original honey barbecue flavor right now for a short time. It's been good through October into November. Don't know how much longer they're going to do it, so don't wait on it. Stop by the local KFCs in Fresno, Clovis, Selma, and Kerman, and go back to the late 90s when I had a full head of hair and life was good. Today, not so much, but you know what? We're still moving forward, hopelessly lost but making good time. That's my motto. And we'll address that with Jack Fertig in just a couple of minutes. But thanks to the local operators at KFC. Really appreciate their support of the station, this show, and the Valley as a whole. Now, the other reminders, Lee's Air Plumbing, Heating, and Roofing, been in the Central Valley since 1981. Terrific local people. You see the avocado green and blue trucks all over the place. They afford me the time to tell you about the weather each and every day. And in particular right now, a very important 7-day forecast, a very wet 7-day forecast, one that could see 2.5 to 3 inches of rain between now and Monday on the valley floor. Now, the storm people have been waiting for should arrive North Valley around midnight or so, I guess technically tomorrow, but midnight tonight. And then by late morning or early afternoon, and maybe by 3 o'clock, we'll see most of it on the valley floor tomorrow. It's going to be a very rainy Thursday. And then when that one clears out, this is where it gets interesting. As we go through Friday and this original storm is done, as it heads south, it's going to boomerang back evidently, which it does sometimes, and it's going to really drown us over the weekend as well. And then when that one is done, there's another shot on Monday. And so if these three storms coalesce, we could end up 2.5 to 3 inches on the valley floor. Already some flood watches in the foothill areas, good from 10 o'clock tomorrow morning to about 4 o'clock on Friday. So it is going to be, if the forecast holds, a very wet weekend. And in regard to Fresno State, we thought initially that there wouldn't be a rain issue on Saturday night. Now it looks like there will be rains during the game itself when Fresno State and Wyoming kick it off at 7:30 at the stadium. The good news, of course, is we have the sprint turf, field turf, whatever you want to call it, a lot better than the old days where you had the natural grass, then they would try to overlay it with the Bermuda being replaced, or at least the top seating with the rye, and that just made it even slicker. So should not be an issue on the field itself, but I don't know how it's going to be for the fans with that 7:30 start. And one more time, and I will talk to Jack about it in a moment, you have a 7 o'clock basketball game at SMC and a 7:30 football game across the street at Valley Children's. That's not how you'd like it to go, but that's how it works because you have a volleyball match that really can't be moved any earlier on Saturday, a conference match, and you really can't ask Utah Valley to play at midnight, though that was my idea. So one of those rare circumstances where you have your two main sports going head-to-head, have to deal with it the best we can. We'll certainly talk basketball with Jack in just a moment. But anyway, as far as the 7-day in regard to the highs and lows, we're looking at lows mainly in the 50s. It will fall to the 40s by the time we get the rain around here. But 77 today for the high, and then we find ourselves falling back 63 tomorrow, 58 on Friday, 61 Saturday, 63 Sunday, 62 Monday, 60 on Tuesday as it clears out. So the temperatures are down a little bit. We've been way up, 83 start of the week. It's mainly the rain we're worried about, so be very careful out there, and I hope the flooding issues in the foothills are not a major problem for you. Anyway, thanks to Lee's for allowing us the time. Again, leesair.com on the web or 825-5337, 825-LEES. Anything you need, central air, plumbing, heating, or roofing. And also, the Lee's Air hotline. That's how Jack Fertig will come up in a moment. It's how Phil brings his guests and callers from the general public up. And again, mark that number down, 559-320-1430. That's how you can call Phil during his show. And then the final reminder comes courtesy of our longtime friend and longtime sponsor, Joe Cruz, Superior Pipe and Stainless Supply. Again, pipe fittings, valves, sanitary fittings, food-grade chemical hoses, suction hoses. It's all there for you at 4529 North Marty Avenue in town, Suite 103. You can give Joe or Gabe who works for Joe a call, 266-7473, which is 266-PIPE, or more information on the web, superiorpipeusa.com, or Gabe has a direct email, gabe.sbs@gmail.com. Mind you, every day, if you're working at a plant, if you're a maintenance person, if you're anybody who's around a valve, a boiler service, for instance, tanker delivery trucks, anything where a valve is important to you, if it goes down, your business can come crashing down with it. One of the great aspects of Joe's business, not only the superior components, but same-day estimates, same-day service, family-friendly business. You stop in and see him or give him a call, tell him what your issues are. He'll analyze it on a same-day basis, and if you're just taking the hit right now, he'll keep you up and running. If you've taken already a major catastrophic turn, he'll get you back up and running in a big hurry. So stop in and see him or give him a call, and when he is done analyzing everything for you, if you have a few minutes, he will tell you what he has done in the way of donation to Fresno State now for over 3 decades, celebrating the 25th anniversary of this particular business, and we'll tell you the best avenue right now to give to Fresno State. Go to the main website at gobulldogs.com. We talk about this every day. There's a donate link at the top there. Click on that. It'll take you initially to the BDF, celebrating their 75th anniversary right now. And also, under headers there, you have got Myers Champion Circle, Green Bee Society are there. Also, keep in mind you have the sports clubs. You have the delineation of ways you can give. Also, the Valley Co-op under different headers. So there are a lot of ways you can give to Fresno State. And I've mentioned before, with the sports clubs, the great upside is that you can give directly to that sport. For instance, quarterback club for football. Jack Fertig is on the board of directors, Timeout Club for men's basketball. They love more members. Jack has said call him directly in his cell if you'd like, 559-287-3305. Just don't do it between now and 3 o'clock, or you can leave him a message if you like, or you can hit him on his email, fertigjack@aol.com, and ask him why. It's Fertig-Jack and not Jack Fertig, and he'll tell you the story that I find hysterically funny, but I can't repeat on the air anymore. But fertigjack@aol.com. That's all I can tell you. It's well worth the question to Jack about how he came up with that particular version of an email moniker. Also, that's just for you, Jack. Also, you have different links for other sports, Dugout Club, for instance, for baseball and other men's and women's sports there under sports clubs. And then finally, the other link, which is the click on it for more information, and you guessed it, there are links for more information like tickets and parking for all events on campus. Anyway, it's the best way to go about it. The NIL stuff is under of course, the aegis of Fresno State. So check all of that out. Any donation, big or small, any sponsorship idea, University welcomes it. And we thank Joe Cruz for allowing us the time to tell you how to donate to Fresno State. So thanks to Joe, Superior Pipe and Stainless Supply, Ed Dunkel, Precision Civil Engineering, the local operators at KFC in Fresno, Clovis, Selma, and Kerman, and Lee's Air Plumbing, Heating, and Roofing. And speaking of the folks at Lee's, on the Lee's Air hotline, 559-320-1430, it is the aforementioned Jack Fertig to talk basketball. Jack, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Looking forward to the game tonight. It's not going to be an easy one for Fresno State.
At 6 o'clock, by the way, with the Tritons of UC San Diego. Now, they're 2-0. They have beaten Laverne College, which Laverne College is a fine private institution down in Los Angeles, but not an athletic power. The alma mater, by the way, of our buddy Johnny Dasco.
Because Shirley was out.
That's right, exactly. You know what? The Petty Marshall, Sidney Williams lines, although both now have passed away, which is very unfortunate that both Laverne and Shirley are no longer with us, when I didn't know they were going to make it to air. I did want to mention Laverne College happens to be the alma mater of our good friend John Dasco. Johnny Dasco, the original voice of the Fresno Grizzlies, and someone who's still on our air on 790 because he's one of the play-by-play announcers of the soon-to-be Las Vegas Athletics. And I just talked to him off air the other day. But UC San Diego has beaten both Laverne, like I said, and Shirley, and three other people, because you got to have five on the court. That's the other joke, Jack. And also, I believe, Houston Baptist, I think that's the other, or Houston Christian, one of the two. A religious institution in Houston. They are, by the way, Big West members right now. So it's still a better test than what, dare I say it, USC Upstate should have been, but turned out to be far worse the other night, although the Bulldogs did recover against Long Beach State. We'll get there in a second. Jack, I want to start, since we do try to touch upon Bulldogs in the NBA, with Joaquin's email about Paul George, who is getting ready to come back, and I hope he can stay healthy. The fact that the Sixers are playing really great basketball and they're still not at full strength, it's surprising a lot of people the way they're playing. Joaquin asked about the question we've had so often of our Mount Rushmore of the best current Fresno State athletes that are in professional sports. We've said who's going to get there first with the title. It looked like Aaron Judge. Didn't happen last year. Not able to make the series this year. By the way, that announcement comes down tomorrow about whether it's either he or Cal Raleigh winning the MVP in the AL. I would hope they would do what happened in 1979 in the NL. Go ahead and have co-MVPs. I have a hunch Raleigh's going to get it, though Aaron statistically probably deserves it. Keep in mind that decision, those votes were cast when the regular season ended. It had nothing to do with the postseason. But we thought Aaron might get there. Yankees are going to have to wait. We certainly have talked about Devontae Adams, who, by the way, I don't know if that back strain is a problem for him. He had a great game against the Niners, and then he had the back strain that it bothered him through the last couple of games. We'll see what's going on there when the Rams play the Seahawks this weekend. And we certainly look now at Paul George and say if the Sixers stay healthy, a lot easier to come out of the East. So I'll ask you, Jack, does Paul have the lead in the clubhouse now as far as current athletes that might get their first title?
No, I don't know. It's certainly not going to be Deron Bland, the way their owner is. But I would say I think Devontae Adams might have a leg up on everybody. They're playing great right now.
Yep.
And they have an MVP candidate, too.
Well, and I just mentioned yesterday, I think the Rams are the best, playing right now the best football in the National Football League. They would certainly love to get home field advantage to avoid having a cold weather turn in the postseason. And we'll see, and like I said, they and the Seahawks will have that game for you, and the 49ers and the Cardinals both playing at the same time on Sunday. The Raiders, incidentally, are hosting the Cowboys on Monday night, so those are our three local teams. Well, yeah, we'll see what happens. Jack, we talked about bubble wrap, right? And Joaquin had asked about LeBron, who practiced now with the G League or D League team, now G League team. he's looking good, and I would make this argument since the Lakers are on our air tonight against the defending champion Thunder. Jack, if they could find a way to keep LeBron in bubble wrap and still play this well, would it be tempting to really limit his minutes and even his games until we get at least past the All-Star break? I mean, how would you manage this if, in a perfect world, to not wear him out and particularly not be so prone to injury, which, as you and I know, is the problem with the veteran players. It's not just that you get injured more frequently, it takes a lot longer to come back. How would you manage his minutes right now if you were the king of Los Angeles at the moment with the Lakers?
I mean, you have to. They tried to clone him, and that didn't work real well.
They came up about 7 inches short. Don't you dare.
Yeah. Right. And then I just don't know. Being in the West, they bubble wrap them. I don't know if that's going to be enough. I mean, they're playing great without him, but it's an 82-game season. So, usually the team, it's going to be hard to beat Oklahoma City. I mean, they have basically the same team that they had last year, and they're playing about as well or better than they did last year. They have their returning MVP, and they have great pieces around them. And then you have the rest of the West. So, yeah, you can do it. But, I mean, that's just kind of I don't know if there's enough bubble wrap to have the Lakers try to win it. You were talking about winning a championship, not just playing well.
Well, and Jack, that is the issue you and I talk about all the time, whether it's the Lakers or the Warriors or whatever. The expectation is, not the runner-up trophy. The old line about UCLA, right? They don't hang NIT banners at Pauley Pavilion, right? Okay. The Lakers, the Warriors, the Celtics, these are teams that they define their success by winning the title. If you fall short, ask the 15-16 Warriors. They don't want to hear about the 73-9 season because it fell 4 minutes short and one Kyrie Irving jumper short. You just
mean bleep, right?
That was Michael Jordan, Joe Lacob, right? So, Joe, keep in mind, you had Michael, as we've talked, waited until the owners' meeting. He did not say a word during the year when the Warriors were going to break the 72-10. Waits for the owners' meeting, takes a big puff of his cigar, blows the smoke in Joe Lacob's face, and goes, "So, Joe, I guess 73-9 didn't mean bleep, did it?" And if you know Michael Jordan, you know he enjoyed that as much as anything he has ever done outside of the court itself. All right?
He enjoyed it a lot more than the way his team played.
Yes. Was it the greatest? Was there ever a greater juxtaposition than the Hall of Fame acceptance speeches of David Robinson followed by Michael Jordan? You talk about the old Carlin line about the difference of states in the United States can be told, the philosophy by the license plate holder mottos, as he mentioned before. New Hampshire, live free or die. Idaho, famous potatoes. Believe me, that was live free or die, famous potatoes. David Robinson thinking everybody on the planet, and Michael Jordan, Festivus for the rest of us. He was like Frank Costanza. He was airing his grievances, Jack, on the night that he was honored, insulting front offices, his teammates, his own family. And if you know Michael Jordan, that's completely consistent with his behavior, and he really enjoyed shoving it where with Joe Lacob. So,
from what I've heard from several people, many of whom were there, they said it was an alcohol-infused speech as well.
Well, the look on Pat Riley's face when Michael was assailing Pat Riley, who admittedly had referred to Michael Jordan as His Majesty when Riley was in the front offices against him, and then admitted afterward, he said, "I was just trying to say that, well, Michael was there. We were all playing for second place." Pat found an unusual way to say it. Anyway, look, bottom line is the Lakers are going to be judged on championships. I'm with you. The balancing act in the West, and the Warriors are going through it. How do you rest your veteran guys without falling way back in the standings? So far, the Lakers have been able to manage it. We'll see what happens again tonight on our air, 6:15 with a 6:30. It's also a national telecast. No surprise there. The one last thing quickly, Joaquin asked about Draymond Green. Was he talking about Jonathan Kuminga, about agendas? Draymond was talking about, Joaquin, every younger player on the Warriors. And, Jack, very quickly, you and I have addressed this before. The problem you have is the veteran players of the Warriors want to play for right now because they know that it's all going to be done for Curry, for Draymond, for Butler, for Horford, for Steve Kerr this season and next. They want to play for right now. Joe Lacob is going to be owning the Warriors a lot longer than the next 2 years, and he's got a lot of investors that expect this team to still be competitive. So he's not riding off into the sunset in a couple of years. So what you have, Jack, is these two parallel lines that don't intersect. The desire of the veterans to win right now, and Lacob saying, yeah, I want to win right now, but I don't want to jeopardize our future, so I'm not trading Kuminga and Podziemski and Jackson Davis and these guys away to get another couple of veterans so you guys can win right now, and that I have Stugotz in 2 years. Who's right about this, Jack? The guy who signs the check?
No, well, the guy who signs the check is right in terms of what he wants to do. The veterans are right in terms of what they want to do. Probably what he ought to do is trade his veterans, try to get some good players to go along with the guys you mentioned, and try to do it that way. Maybe you can win a lot more later, because honestly, I don't see how they can win now. Not in the West. They're just. The problem with Draymond Green is that he has a podcast, so now he has to be, controversial, or else his podcast is worthless, as most podcasts are.
Yeah, but it also comes naturally to him, Jack, because let's keep in mind Draymond Green changed the history of the NBA when LeBron stepped over him and Draymond got suspended. Otherwise, the Warriors would have won that title, and we've talked about it before. It was not just that he was suspended for Game 5 when they had a 3-1 lead in the finals and in that 73-9 season, but in that game where he was suspended, that Game 5 at Oracle in Oakland, it changed the rotation, and most importantly, guys like Andrew Bogut got hurt playing different minutes because Draymond was out, and was lost for the rest of the series, and that was the only rim protector the Warriors had, and the Cavs just tore him up after that. That's how they won 3 straight. But without that, Kevin Durant does not come to the Warriors because he wouldn't have shown up despite everything. He even said it. He said, look, I joined the Warriors because I wanted to play that style of ball, but if they had been 2-time defending champions, which they would have been, because there's no way I would have come there. So Draymond has managed to change the history of the league, sometimes for good and sometimes for bad. We'll see what happens. The Warriors got their rear ends kicked last night by that great Thunder team, and it is a great, great Thunder team, and they don't even have their full strength yet in regard to a roster. So look out, when you get everybody there. They already look great, and we'll see what happens tonight. All right, Jack, to Fresno State. I've mentioned this to you, and I've said it on air to everybody. I'm not going to overreact to the losses. I am not going to rejoice over the wins right now. I'm waiting for this second year to play out. We'll be 60 games in. I'm viewing it as a single 60-game run, if you will, over 2 years, and then the evaluation comes. And, again, the only opinions that really matter in that regard, Saul's and Garrett's. But that having been said, do you take heart in what happened Saturday in regard to the bounce back, or are you at an arm's length with this club right now because you just don't know exactly what they're all about?
Well, Vern Pletz, one of the founders of the Bulldog Foundation, has accused me of being a middle-of-the-road guy, which I am, because, those guys, let's just say their politics are a little to the right of Attila the Hun, and I feel the exact same way for the far left. So I am a middle-of-the-road guy, and that's the way I look at all these things. I try to say, what was the difference in the 2 games? One thing was they forced fewer turnovers against Long Beach State, but had 24 points off those turnovers to 3 for Long Beach State. That's 21-point difference. That's the difference in the game. if you look at the upstate game, they forced more turnovers but had very few points off the turnovers, probably because many were dead ball turnovers, and ended up losing by one, where they missed 6 free throws and several layups, point blank. Vance Wahlberg talked to our group at the Timeout Club, and every one of our meetings, which is second Monday at 5:30 p.m., Vance came and talked to us, as he usually does, he or another member of the staff, and he came out and said, I apologize, you can put that game on me. I did not do a good enough job. They were up 11 at halftime. He felt they should have won by 20, and he said, okay, look, we're going to get better. Our team is going to get better each game, so, watch us. Now, tonight is going to be a difficult game, as Harry Gakian, another member of the group, and also a founder of the Bulldog Foundation, as well as a keeper of the funds. That's another story, because had John Welty not kind of nosed into it and taken money out, they'd have an endowment of $50 million right now, which would help quite a bit. But as Harry had told us many times last Monday, UCSD last year was 30-5, went to the NCAA tournament, and lost a very close game to the University of Michigan. Now, the good news is that the coach left and went to New Mexico and took several players with him. The bad news is that the assistant, who runs the exact same stuff and runs what Vance runs, which is a ton of threes. He says they'll search guys out in transition for open threes. They eschew the mid-range shot, so it's all threes and layups. They have big guys who can pick and pop and pick and roll, and they have a couple of good ones. So it's going to be a tough game. But looking at it just from one game to another, Wilson Jacques was excellent against Long Beach State. He can't, as Vance said, he can't jump an inch off the floor, but he's big. He's 7 feet, about 240, 250, his long hands, and he'll put his hands up using that principle of verticality rule, and he won't block very many, but boy, does he affect shots that are near the basket, and he gives you everything that he can. You've got Deshaun Gary and DJ Stickland, who put tremendous pressure on the ball, but have to learn how to play defense off the ball. But Vance loves that guy who can, put pressure on the ball, and that really helps them. Some of the other guys can't do that, but some of the other guys are great shooters. You've got a guy like Jake Hydrator, who takes a while, it seems, to get going, but when he starts making threes, he had 24 points. He was leading scorer. I think he had 18 against Upstate. Unfortunately, missed a couple layups and a couple threes right at the end, which would have put the Dogs ahead and maybe won the game. But he was on fire. I saw him in the Cal Poly game make 5 in a row at the beginning of the second half. Second half of the Long Beach game, he was terrific. They seem to be getting better. There are a couple of guys, McConville and Mateo Porto have been disappointing. If they could come around, you have, the big always hurt, DJ Douglas, who, if he can ever get healthy, is another shooter. And you have, Collins, who's doing a real nice job at the point. So let's, like you said, let's not, get too high and too low. Let's see if they get better. They did a marked improvement from Wednesday to Saturday. Let's see what they can do now. And one other thing. Saturday, if you'll remember, most football games in November. In October, they're in the evening because of the weather. In November, they're in the afternoon. And that's what they had thought when they scheduled the basketball game. TV moved the game to 7:30. They wanted to play the game in the afternoon, but Vance had said, I guess there's a volleyball game on Friday and it's a union type thing where they don't have enough time to turn around the Save Mart Center for an afternoon basketball game. Therefore, they have to play it at 7 o'clock. Unfortunate. He doesn't like it, but he just said, look, that's how it is, and, TV rules. I mean, that's where the money comes from. So, unfortunately, you got a basketball game at 7 and at home and a football game at 7:30 at home. And
Right.
I'm not sure how people can go to both.
Well, Jack, you're right in that if it would have been, we've talked about this before, in an ideal world, you would play, if it weren't for TV, but obviously TV is where the bulk of your money is coming from. So, you have to accept it is the deal with the devil, but it is mandatory to survive financially. But if you were to draw it up in August, when we have these early starts to the season, and then through September, the games would be at 7 o'clock, and then they would be at 4 o'clock ideally in October, in November. And if you had a 4 o'clock start and a 7:30 basketball game, or even an 8 o'clock tip for your basketball game on Saturday night, you'd have a perfect audience flow, if you will, from football over. You're right, it didn't happen. There's nothing you can do. I brought up it would be nice if you could have played. I had an email saying, well, how about Midnight Madness? Well, you know what? Asking Utah Valley to play at midnight to your advantage in every way, shape, or form is not going to be met with. That's how you can do your own scrimmage if you'd like, but you're not going to play a competitive game that way. It's unfortunate. It's just I view it as another 40 minutes on the court for the team against somebody who is not playing with you during practice during the week, right? The old line about scrimmaging, you get tired of playing against your own guys. So you're going to have somebody come in here, try and beat you. You may be in front of friends and family, who knows? But you know what? Play the game and see what happens. As far as the rest of it goes, I'm with you. We're going to see how this plays out. I do want to add, as far as the whole season, I do want to ask you, though, about two potentially key losses. The one with Douglas, who I don't want him to be the oft-injured Douglas, but that's how it's turning out, at least for Fresno State's time with him. And with the injury to Zulame, who was one of the more athletic players, Jack, the impact of both of those guys being out, what say you about this?
I kid about Douglas, and it is unfortunate. I mean, the guy's injured, and when you do injure your knee, your quad and calf are probably going to atrophy.
Yes.
Take it from somebody who's had some of those injuries. But, the big injury, Nathan, was such an athletic guy, another guy who you could put out there, with stick and with Gorey. You could really press full court or put a ton of pressure on a ball in a half court, make a team initiate their offense from 35 or 40 feet instead of from 20 or 25 feet. That, I think, is one that really hurts. He's a guy who was really athletic, and somehow they hated his shot. It looked awful, and Vance charts everything in practice, and they looked at the week, and he was 10 for 18 from 3. So, John Welch even told me, I got to look at that again because I can't believe he was 10 for 18.
Right.
His shot doesn't look good, but it would go in. So, and even if it didn't, you're still talking about a guy who's going to disrupt another team defensively and plays right into the hand of what you want to do defensively. So that one really hurts, and he's out for the year with a torn ACL. But redeeming factor is that the team is a lot deeper this year than they were in the past, and you hope that they don't have to go with 6 or 7 man rotation like they did last year due to all those injuries.
Jack, one thing I want to ask you about in regard to last night. Watching Gonzaga last night, and, I guess as long as Mark Few is there, it's going to be this way. You're up in the hinterlands of Spokane, Washington, not exactly a metropolitan city, but you win and win
when you live
and
in
win.
Pullman, it is.
Yeah, there you go. Boom. Thank you very much. It's all relative, ladies and gentlemen. You're right. For if you live in Pullman, it's like it's hard to keep them down on the farm once they've seen Perry, right? Okay.
But let me tell you, when you live in Cheney, Washington, where Eastern Washington is, they think Pullman is metropolitan.
Yeah, that's right. And then you head to the big city of Moscow, Idaho. I know that too. Okay, but here's the thing. When you see guys like Graham Ike, who we have seen, who's been playing now for about 20 years, I believe, in conference against Fresno State, when you see the talent that Gonzaga has, and Creighton's a good club, and they just got their rear ends kicked last night up there on national TV.
Yeah.
Jack, how much do you cringe realizing that is going to be the bar that is set now for the Pac? Everybody's going to have to reach that bar, or Gonzaga is going to come in here like Grant going through Richmond, right?
Well, yeah, you're going to start calling Mark Few His Majesty, where everybody's going to be playing for second. But everybody's doing that in the West Coast Conference now. And, St. Mary's challenged Gonzaga. And, every once in a while, maybe USF or Santa Clara, somebody else would come up and try to challenge. That's probably, realistically, what the Mountain West is going to be, I would think, because I don't see Gonzaga slipping in recruiting because they're going up. The reason they joined is because they want to be in the Pac-12 and they want to try to get the Pac-12 recognized as a power conference, certainly in football, but if not, like the Big East is in basketball. So you're going to continue to get multiple teams in the NCAA tournament, and who cares if you don't win the conference if you can go to the big dance. That's where you can shine depending on your matchups, and that's also where the money is. I don't think San Diego State is going to feel like they have to take a back seat to Gonzaga. So, why should anybody else? You just have to build your program like Gonzaga and San Diego State did. And with NIL, you can do it.
Well, in basketball, we've talked, it just takes two or three. We're seeing that happen at BYU, of course. We talked about it. But Jack, it's a great point, and one that maybe, the forest for the trees routine, right? You get too far embedded in something and you don't take a step back. For the rest of the country, the moniker Pac-12, Pac-8, Pac-10, Pac-12 means something across the country in a way that, no offense, the WAC never did, nor does the Mountain West, nor does the WCC or the AAC or whatever alphabet soup you want to talk about. The Pac has meaning. Now, it's not the same teams as before, but for the rest of the country, from a marketing standpoint, there's no doubt when you say we play in the Pac-12 or Pac-8, whatever it is, it makes a difference. And if you do bring teams like Gonzaga in, as much as you are loath to compete against them, it is actually to your benefit. And I will ask you, Jack, for teams like Fresno State, how mandatory is it that they up their game by the time we get to next year? Whether Vance is still here or whether they've gone in another direction. And again, that's going to, as much as every fan has his or her opinion, and you're welcome to them, and you all have your own set of criteria, and bless you for it, the bottom line is Saul, who made the hire, and Garrett, who wasn't here when the hire was made, those two gentlemen are going to determine the fate of Fresno State coaching going forward. I would love to see Vance succeed. I hope he does. But, Jack, how big a burden is on everybody financially to up their game on and off the court for Fresno State to never mind thrive but survive in what is going to be an enormously difficult basketball conference? Never mind football. Basketball, it's going to be absolutely brutal going in.
Yeah, it is. It is, especially because you're not getting that $20.5 million that all the power schools got from the NCAA. Right. And I don't know where the NCAA is getting all this money. I mean, they just came out. They put a cap on how many coaches you could have on a staff, and said you could have that many, whatever X number it is, whatever the sport was, plus a volunteer coach who doesn't get paid. Well, the baseball volunteer coaches sued the NCAA, and I think they got something like $93 million to be dispersed among all the guys who were volunteers at whatever, since that rule was put in by the NCAA. I just saw the NCAA is paying $303 million to the other volunteer coaches in other sports. And I don't know where they're getting all this money. I mean, I know they get a lot of money from March Madness, and that supposedly is like basketball's like 90% of their budget because they made a foolish decision long ago when they were so lazy. They didn't want to deal with football, so they gave it to the Football Coaches Association. And now they're, they're ruining that day that they decided, they didn't want football. And the Football Coaches Association are sitting back with their cigars and whatever. You're going to have to step it up. You obviously, Washington State, Oregon State got that $20.5 million, and they got a ton of money from the teams that were leaving, who left the old Pac-12, and you have other schools in that league. Usually the top half, basketball-wise, other than maybe New Mexico, you're playing against the better teams in the Mountain West, and some of those teams have some benefactors. San Diego State, UNLV, Boise State. So, you're going to have to step it up. And the coaches are going to have to do an incredible job of evaluating who they're giving the money to. Because a lot of times, even if you have the money, if you pick the wrong guys, that's not going to do it. I mean, I noticed that, I guess, I heard that Elijah Price, who one publication had as preseason MVP in the or second to, I believe, a guy from Utah State, and at least they had him all preseason, all conference. He got $390 million, from what I understand, to go to. And some estimates were.
Wait a second, not $390 million, but I know what you're saying.
No, I'm sorry, 390,000.
Exactly.
The way they're talking now, million, billion, trillion.
390 substantial regardless. Otherwise, he's broken the bank. Unless Ballmer's paying.
Exactly.
But Jack, we have run out of time. Unfortunately, we're going to have to stop it right there.
So, in answer to your question, yes, they have to step it up.
Well, again, and you can help by contacting Jack at FerdyJack@AOL.com. He'll tell you why his email is in reverse order. And go ahead and give him a call at 559-287-3305. Join the Timeout Club. Jack, always out of time too quickly, my friend. Enjoy the game tonight. Talk to you next week. Take care.
Look forward to it, Tony. Go Dogs.
All right. Great friend Jack Ferdy. Take a break. Come back, talk about the schedule. Hand it off to Bill. 3 terrific hours coming up with Behind the Bench. And then the Lakers in OKC. They'll try to delouse. Well, actually, they'll try to fumigate the Warriors visiting locker room from last night. Hopefully it'll work out better for the Lakers tonight. We'll talk about the schedule after this as the Bulldog Hour continues on this Wednesday on Central Valley Sports Leader, 1430 ESPN.
Hey guys, it's Phil Bonatti here from Behind the Bench to remind you that every Thursday you can catch my show live from Fashion Furniture. We talk about all the latest topics and news concerning Central Valley sports, as well as interviews with the coaches and players that are making it happen on the playing field. Be sure to stop on by and enjoy some food and a great show from 3 to 6 p.m., as well as look at all the fine selections that Fashion Furniture has to offer. That's Behind the Bench, live from Fashion Furniture, 3 to 6 p.m. every Thursday. I'll see you there.
Basketball is here at Fresno City College. Come cheer on the Rams, both men's and women's teams, 2 of the top programs in the state, where every game is fast, fierce, and full of heart. Don't miss your chance to see championship-level basketball live at FCC. Want to know where the Rams play next? Or check schedules for other sports? Visit FCCRams.com for full fall and winter athletic schedules. Be part of the tradition. Be part of pride. Fresno City College Athletics, where champions compete and fans bring the energy.
Quick, where can you find a great selection of Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, Serta, and Mattress First bedding? Easy. The same place you'll find adjustable beds, sheets, pillows, mattress protectors, and more. Sleep Retreat inside Fashion Furniture. It's worth the time to walk through and imagine what your home could look like with beautiful new furniture. Or how comfortable you'll be on your new mattress. Fashion Furniture on El Paso across from River Park. There's nothing like it in all of California.
Ed Dinas, the dealer in Dinuba that does. Yes, he does.
Hey, it's Ashley Dina from Ed Dina's Auto Center, and if you've been thinking about upgrading your ride, this is the month to make it happen. We're rolling out Black Friday savings all November long. You'll get year-end clearance pricing on every vehicle on the lot, plus top trade-in values and fast, hassle-free financing from a family-owned dealership that truly knows how to take care of people. We're proud to serve our communities, so don't wait. Check out the inventory now on eddinasautocenter.com.
Football fans, it's Phil Bonatti with Behind the Bench. The season is heating up, so bring your tailgate to mid-season form with Grocery Outlet in Kerman, Sanger, and Fresno Southeast, Downtown, and Northwest stores. Stock up and save big on quality meats, snacks, drinks, beer, and wine. The same great quality, but always at lower prices. And while you're there, enter the Tailgate Ready contest to win 2 tickets to the next Fresno State home game, plus $100 for your tailgate. Only at Kerman, Sanger, and Fresno Southeast, Downtown, and Northwest Grocery Outlets.
Welcome to Banyan Tree, Fresno's favorite dispensary. Voted 2025's Best of Central California's People's Choice Award. Need some healing and relaxation? From flower to edibles, concentrate to vapes, we've got top shelf products at down-to-earth prices. Whether you're a seasoned smoker or just kinda curious, our knowledgeable staff will help you find your perfect match. So climb the Banyan Tree and see how high you can get today. Order ahead at banyantreefresno.com for quick and easy pickup. Banyan Tree, rooted in quality, grown in Fresno.
Welcome back, 2:53. A few minutes ago on the show, Phil coming up. His great show Behind the Bench, full 3 hours today. You can give him a call on the Lee's Air Hotline, 559-320-1430. Tell you all about the schedule in just a second. But first, I want to remind you about our friends at KFC in Fresno, Clovis, Selma, and Kerman. Right now, it's a throwback to the late 90s as they have the classic honey barbecue flavor on everything, the chicken sandwiches, the tenders, and, of course, those crispy golden pieces you know and love deals in 2-, 3-, and 4-piece meals. Again, on Wednesdays, the $5.99 deal still in place with country fried steak. On Tuesday, the $10 8-piece or tenders offer still there for you. And keep in mind that if you stop by the local KFCs, you'll always find the chicken finger looking good. We've known that for years and years, and I would like you to thank them for supporting athletics throughout this great valley. Again, that's the local operators in Fresno, Clovis, Selma, and Kerman. Stop on in and see them, whether it's a late lunch for you or an early dinner or you're just planning on something a couple hours from now. It's always great to stop by KFC, and we thank them for everything they do for us and for the valley as a whole. Now, as far as the schedule coming up, that is brought to you by Ed Dunkel and his outstanding business, Precision Civil Engineering, Planning, Land Surveying, Civil Engineering, Landscape Architecture, Construction Management. It's all there under one roof. More information, 449-4500, precisioneng.net. Again, Ed always front and center in fundraising for the Lyles College of Engineering on campus at Fresno State. Ed is a very proud graduate. A lot of those grads come to work for him at Precision. The goal, as always, to unify athletics and academics to provide more funding resources to students. It's worked beautifully over the years, and we commend Ed for everything he does for Fresno State. As far as the lineup goes for us tonight, on 790, Paul Metters has his outstanding show all about Fresno Pacific Athletics, 6 to 7 on the Deuce 790. That's Sunbird Sports Show. Also, Paul has his long-running and outstanding show on Saturday mornings on 1430, Central Valley Sports Report, 10 a.m. to noon on Saturdays from First String Sports. He's with Phil for high school football. Playoffs underway, second round. It will be Clovis West and Clovis at La Monica. That's always a great matchup. They just played in the regular season. This one, of course, is for major implications going forward because the loser leaves the playground. It'll not only be Phil and Paul, but Pat Hill will be there as well at La Monica. 6:30 the pre and 7 o'clock they'll kick it off, and we'll see how it plays out. So stay tuned for that one. Also want to remind you that we're with you at 2 o'clock each and every weekday. You can reach me, TDAD1 at ATT.net, TDAD, the number 1 at ATT.net. First names are fine. Phil with you normally 3 to 6, Monday through Friday. His show is moved around sometimes because of play-by-play. On Thursdays, he's at Fashion Furniture with our good friend Rada Vidikian, El Paso across from River Park. The best furniture on the planet, nothing like it in all of California. The tremendous conversation of Phil's show, some good eats as well. Stop by and see him or give him a call again on the Lee's Air Hotline. Phil will be with everybody tomorrow there at Fashion Furniture. As far as our lineup tonight, in addition to the Sunbird Sports Show on 790, I mentioned earlier, it's the Lakers and the Thunder tonight. So the Lakers get a shot at the defending NBA champions. Little late start tonight because of network TV. So you've got a 6:15 tip around 6:40 our time, so 8:40 back in OKC. Should be a terrific matchup. LeBron getting ready to come back and play for the Lakers as he has been working out with the G League team. Big test for the Lakers tonight, so stay tuned for that one. Sharks are up later in the week, and for us, of course, we start Week 11 in the NFL season tomorrow. The big matchups for us over the weekend, we naturally have Thursday, Sunday night, and Monday nights, always from Westwood 1, unless it's one of our local teams, and this Monday it is the Raider broadcast as the Cowboys are in on Monday to the great confines of Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. For us, it's Major Wager Monday. Carter and the gang, me and Ed's Victory Grill, Cedar and Dakota, Granite Park. Get there by 5 o'clock. The game is on ABC and ESPN. We'll have the Raider feed for you. And a great time there at me and Ed's Victory Grill. The terrific food, great atmosphere, always a lot of fun. Stop by and see Carter, everybody. 5 o'clock on Monday, Granite Park, Major Wager Mondays, me and Ed's Victory Grill, Cedar and Dakota. The two big matchups on Sunday, very important in the NFC West. The 49ers are in Arizona to play the Cardinals. That'll be on 14:30. And then the biggest matchup of the weekend out west, the Rams host the Seahawks. That has tremendous implication going forward. That one will be on 790. So a very busy weekend for us. As we said before, the high schools all the way through the championship, and then Phil, Paul, everybody will segue to high school basketball and baseball. Everything with the Lakers and the NBA all the way through the finals through ESPN Radio, if not the Laker Network. Everything through the Super Bowl from Westwood 1 or the Ram, Raider, or 49er networks. I'm not so sure about the Raiders. Maybe the Rams. The 49ers, probably not, but we'll see how that plays out. So once again, everything we can do for you locally, regionally, and nationally right there on 1430 and 790. And then finally, everything for the station, 1430 ESPNFresno.com. Get the live links and the podcast there. And for anybody listening the last couple of days, we have not had the live stream up, but the podcast is still there at 1430 ESPNFresno.com or on the YouTube page. Thanks to Jorge, as always. Thanks to Jack Fertig. Jackson with me tomorrow. We'll be talking Fresno State and Wyoming. And one more time, going to be a very rainy weekend. Hopefully it works out well for Fresno State. We'll talk to you about it tomorrow. Phil coming up, 3 great hours. Give him a call. Lee's Air Hotline, 559-3204.
There's only one. West Coast? West Coast Exhaust and Off-Road. Hey folks, Steve Johnson here from West Coast Exhaust and Off-Road. For over 20 years, my crew and I have been keeping rides running rides. From cars and trucks to side-by-sides, ready to roll into the season. Whether you need a tune-up, oil change, or full custom build, bring it to the crew that loves what we do. Get your rig ready for fall and winter adventures with a $100 suspension inspection. Only at West Coast Exhaust and Off-Road. Check out our 5-star Google reviews and swing by in Fresno, just west of